Yo, peace, peace, peace. What's happening? How y'all doing out there? Yeah, let me know what's going on. Let me know if you guys can hear me. You know, definitely appreciate all you guys coming through, for the live stream. Definitely appreciate it. And shout out to a couple people I see already in the chat. What's up, Guillermo Morrison? He said it's been a minute since I could catch a live. Hope you and your family are doing well. Yeah, we doing good, bro. I appreciate you being here, man. Shout out to you. And game over. What's up, bro? One of my members. Shout out to you, bro. Definitely appreciate you. Coming in the building. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and Professor Black Ops. What's up, man? Hey, I might need to go down and drop a link for you, bro, cause it's kind of like a continuation of the conversation we had on another channel and everything, dealing with gaining those foundational skills. You know what I'm saying, in order to get into the tech field, and then look at specializing. And so we had a discussion. Me and Professor Black Ops, as well as a couple of the other men, having a discussion on um, I believe it was a data engineer position. And oh, by the way, this was on the Black Brain Trust. So it was a great discussion. I really, enjoy those conversations. Getting to, talk to people about ways to get into the IT field. Because you guys know I'm a big proponent of trying to help people get into the IT field. I definitely do what I can to try to add to the community and put out information that can help people be successful in their own life. You know what I'm saying? And so it was an awesome conversation. And yeah, we were talking about it was like a question. And let me just go down and get right to it. It was a question that came up, and it was basically yeah, I'm gonna email you, Professor Black Ops. I'm gonna email you right fast. But it was basically a question dealing with um, people trying to figure out what they want. I mean, what should they, study? What should they consider learning in order to get into the IT field? You know what I'm saying? It's like confusing on what people should be learning. It's not like 100% laid out for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way it is in the field. Um, because no one person will like the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's multiple ways, it's multiple different areas that you can, explore that'll help you, you know, that you can make a lot of money on in. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of what prompted this live stream. And so I wanted to kind of cover it and just talk about, those foundational skills that are needed, you know what I'm saying, and how important they are before you start specializing. Especially like I would say, even like cybersecurity, that's an example. Cybersecurity, you know what I'm saying, encompasses all areas of IT. Um, and you have to have a understanding, at least a baseline understanding of how these different areas work in order to protect them. And hold on one second, let me see. Getting late here in Czech Public. We'll stay for a bit and watch the rest tomorrow. That's cool, bro. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you coming through. Kite to surf. Definitely appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So let me go on. Let me get you to come up, Professor Black Ops, as well. Cause I didn't really have no articles. I was just gonna talk. And if someone showed up and they wanted to have a discussion about it, then yeah, I definitely, you know, do that. So one second, man. And I'll be updating in my description, well, not description, but my about section with my new email address. I went on and signed up for the Google workspace so I can, I don't know, have it a little bit more business, a business style email address, as well as all the features and tools that come with Google Workspace. So you'll see my email, Professor Black Ops, but it'll be different from the previous emails. I just need to see create a me, and I like Google products. That's just something I like, man. I know it's a little bit. Some people don't want to use it because yeah, they tracking information. All these companies tracking information, but um, their tools are very beneficial to my workflow. So I enjoy using their tools. So all right, let's see. And just give me 1 second, guys. I gotta find your email address, Professor Black Ops, cause I gotta import all my contacts from the other email address. So let's do it this way. Discord changes. Let's close that out, and then let's add a person. Boom. Yep. Send email. So you should have an email now, Professor Black Ops. And let me put on my headphones as well. And yeah, let me give a couple more shout outs. Let me go back to the chat right fast. And actually let's move this out so I can get back to the chat. Hey, what's up, man? Oh, I'm doing good. It's hanging in there. Yeah. Yeah, let me fix this sound because it's not. All right, there we go. So, and then I'm gonna have to fix the screen as well. But hey,
Okay.
appreciate you coming
No,
on, man. It's
no
hopefully we
problem.
can have a good discussion about this and everything. I should have just hit you up, man, and been like, hey, you want to come through, man?
Because, like you said, it's a continuation when we were on the brain trust. So,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. So let's see, outline YouTube stream. There we go. All right, so let's get rid of all this crap on here and got it. Does it look different to you on the screen?
Now it looks similar. I just really see a big screen of you, and I'm in the bottom, so
Okay. All
it's
right.
all good. As long as
Nah,
I can
but
hear
I
you
got you.
clear.
Yeah, I got you up there. Kind of
No, it's
like
cool.
we. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. So, um, like I said, I just wanted to kind of like have a continuation. I was just gonna really, if nobody showed up, I was just gonna kind of go through those foundational certifications like CompTIA, and just cover those for people that are interested and still trying to get into it. But like I was saying, I mean, you can go in different directions. You know what I'm saying? You can go down the cybersecurity route. You can go into the programming route. You know what I'm saying? But you may find out that you don't really like programming. You know what I'm saying? And so things may change for you. But hold on, let me
And
just let you get your thoughts first on what I'm.
no, it's fine.
Yeah.
No, like you said, I think going on the foundation certs are cool. And two, like you said, is I've been in the game the longest, like 30 years to 15 years. As you grow as a person, as you get a family, as your family, grows up, you're gonna change in life, right? I was banging out, drinking Mountain Dew, programming 15 hours. Then when my son was born, I cut back a little bit. I had him early now. I got 10 years left, so I'm trying to make all the money, right? So in different parts of your life, right, you're gonna make different moves, right? And two is your 401k tight, or do you need to make some up, right? You got 5 kids or 1 kid, right? So different parts of your life is gonna dictate how you move in business too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Um. So let me ask you this then. So what are your thoughts on a direction for people to specialize in? And I already kind of know what you're gonna say, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think you hit it on the head, right? You got to get in, right, and get some general skills. And once you get your general skills, and I think you hit it on the head. I love programming. I would program now. I just make so much more money in cybersecurity. I know people start programming and hated it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you get in, you might say, okay, I'm in tech. I want to switch over to networking, right? Or programming, or like we talked about, project management. There's a lot of jobs that are non-technical and you're in the technical field. So you need to figure out where you fit and what you like. Then
Mm-hmm.
two is, as once again, as you get in the field, are you going to stay technical or are you going to get in management? Right. We could talk about structured security. He went the management route, director route, right? I stay more technical and consult. But usually there's a time in consulting where you get old and people don't want to pay you much, then you got to go get a regular FTE job, right? So once again, you got to figure out what's going to balance for you. And shout out to Gabe. He came in, right? Gabe got me thinking maybe I should go more management. One of my teams was just horrible. So I was like, I'm just going to stay technical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once again, your life, what direction you want to go. And even if you pick a direction, you can always pivot. I was doing more GRC. Now I think I'm going to go back to engineering in the cloud, right? So once again, you just got to figure out what works for you, your point in life, and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's true. Cause like for instance, and I've told this story on my channel like multiple times. Like I I was going the networking route when I first hopped into the into the IT field. I was trying to go that direction. I was looking at those Cisco certifications,
Mhm.
CCNA and then CCNP and all that stuff, trying to go down that route. Where it didn't work out like that, you know what I'm saying? And that's because, when you get into the field, I always say this, you kind of don't know where you're gonna end up. You know what I'm saying, and what you're actually gonna like. I come to find out I didn't really care for networking. I didn't care for working with those Cisco. I just didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? It was cool, but I didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up on that system side, and then eventually ended up on the database side. So
I love databases.
yeah.
Go ahead. I love that's my first love. I got Oracle, PL SQL backend programming. That's really my first love. Then once
Hmm.
again, everybody Java middleware, but I actually got my chops cutting in as a Oracle programmer and as an Oracle DBA. So
Yeah.
I made my first bag in that whole Oracle stack when they were super hot in the 90s. Because I
Hmm.
old. So
Yeah, but man, you just kind of don't know where you're gonna end up. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of cases,
yeah.
and you may find out something that you enjoy better than any other areas of IT. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and
So
too, like shout out to Gabe. He's got the brand new baby too. Is I like programming, but when you put stuff in production, as you well know, you can get a call at 3 a.m. Man, I start getting PSTD, man. I put stuff in production. It was breaking. I was getting yelled at, man. So when you do that Cisco or even development or DBA, depending on what you do, man, you can get all kind of calls in the middle of the night. Stuff ain't working. People blaming you. So you got to be careful what you pick. Now I got paid well to get called in the middle of the night, man, but when you got 1,000 people and they can't get in the system, man, and people's like, well, that's your piece of code not working, right?
yeah.
So you got to figure it out, man. So a lot of people, when you talk about production and big production, right, that's a different ball game. And I don't think a lot of people, unless you live that life, man, that could get kind of crazy. I mean, you've been on a kind of government contract with stuff go
Hmm.
down. I had generals yelling at me, man.
Yeah.
So that's a different life, man. When you get that production work.
Hmm. Yep, yep. And shout out to my man Gary Bays. Shout out to my man Tech G. I see you in the building. Shout out to you guys. If you guys are not subscribed to these guys' channel, they put out awesome content, as well as my man Professor Black Ops up here on the panel. Shout out to him as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to him as well. Shout out to him for what the content that he puts out as well to try to help people get into the IT field. I definitely appreciate all you guys for coming through and showing support. But yeah, so I went on and brought up the CompTIA page or whatever, and I know I've covered this in plenty of live streams, and I hate recovering stuff, but it's always new people coming through and different people here on the live streams every now and then. So I want to just at least hit those up as again, just so for new people that come through. So um, just ignore if you already understand all this stuff. But yeah, so just to cover it, like some of your foundational certifications, and it all depends on what area, or not what area, but you know um how much knowledge you know what I'm saying. Now, and I'm glad Tech G hopped up in here, you know what I'm saying, because he has a free course on his channel that covers the IT fundamentals. And this is for people that have never worked around computers, never took apart a computer, don't understand how the router works at their house. They just connect to it, you know what I'm saying? And they never went in and messed with the configurations of the router or understand how it's communicating, with the modem that's coming in from your cable company, most likely. This fundamentals course, is awesome. So definitely check out Tech G's course, and it's beneficial. And do you have any thoughts on that as well, Professor Black Ops?
No, I think you hitting it on the head. Check out my man Tech G. He was doing an on live class, so check him out. I know he's trying to build that up, so check him out. But no, once again, I'm just gonna add a little bit of it to you. Some people in the sphere says CompTIA is not a legitimate cert. We both work in the government, where 8570 says CompTIA is a good cert to get you a government job.
Yep.
I do government work. I've been a consultant. You need this. I had a Security Plus. I think I had a Network Plus. Of course, I didn't do my continuous ed, but I need to redo it. But now these certs can get you actually into a government contracting job, because I've done those before. If you look up 8570, CompTIA is on there. I know Security Plus, I think, is level 2. I think the CYSA is in level 3. So CompTIA can definitely get you in a consulting job, and these certs are still really relevant.
Yep, I agree. And glad you brought up the DoD 8570. I was going to touch on that a little later with the higher
My
search
bad.
as well. No, it's good. You know what I'm saying? Because that keeps me going in the direction I was trying to go. But just talking about the A+ certification, that's you got your software and hardware that covers a little bit more in depth. And I think, I'm not 100% sure. Go check Tech G's channel if you never subscribe to his channel. But I know he covered both of those. I'm not sure if they're behind a paywall, but his paywall is not that expensive.
No.
So just go on, sign it, especially for the information that he's putting out. It's worth it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely check out his course. I know he got the fundamentals up there, and I know he had the A+, and I know he got the Network Plus, I believe, as well. But yeah, it's not expensive to sign up for it, and that brings up another point I always try to push, man. You need to invest in your future. If you want to be
Thanks.
successful, you know what I'm saying, you got to invest in yourself. And one way to invest in yourself is by, if you see something that's beneficial, a course or something like that, instead of, going to the bar and something and buying some drink or something, or going to the store and get some cigarettes or something, going on and invest in your future by, signing up for a course like this or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh, no. Yeah, 100%. I'm just gonna chime in on that. And as you get promoted or moving in your thing, and you might bring up a couple jobs, they tell you some of these are I wouldn't call them gatekeeper, but you need these certs to move on in HR. That being A+. I've been in the game for 30 years. They're still looking for Security Plus, CISP, or some certifications to get to the bottom bar, because a lot of jobs, especially on Indeed, you see 300 people applying for a job. So they need a way to cut those people out. And a lot of those is cert to get you down to 50 people, right? That may not be fair, but that's how it is.
yeah, yeah. I agree. And just to cover what it says about CompTIA A+, says A+ is a starting point for a career in IT. The performance-based exam certified foundational IT skills across a variety of devices and operating systems. And one thing about CompTIA is like gender neutral. They, it's it's not like a course presented by AWS where it's only going to, do everything according to the way they do things on AWS or Azure. It's only going to cover, the base skills that are needed to, only work on Azure. It's I'm saying gender. It's vendor neutral. You know what I'm saying? So,
Facts.
yeah, yeah.
Vendor
So,
and gender neutral. Go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, and shout out to my man or New Style in the building. Shout out to you, peace to you, bro. And Gabe also says, indeed, investing in your skills is extremely important in this industry. Yes,
But
definitely.
let me chime in on that real
Go
quick.
ahead.
I'm gonna let you go. Gabe, right? I'm 52. I'm the oldest, and still, that's the good thing and the bad thing about technology, right? Is you got to keep your skills up. But if you catch the wave, the IoT wave, machine learning, you can easily make 150 or 200,000, right? That's a new $100,000, right? I know BlackBerry programmers now, they don't exist anymore. Power builders, mainframe guys. There's a few of those left, but you got to keep your skills up. But once again, if you get on the right wave, get on TechG, get on this Linux, you can jump on a wave and make a very good living, man. I'm old and fat, and I eat very well on IT.
Yeah. I'm the same way, man. I take care of my family because I invested in my future. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to take care of my family, take care of myself as well. You know what I'm saying? I don't leave myself out of it, take care of myself as well. But um, yeah, just
I got to
getting in this
jump in one
industry.
more time.
Oh,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
clown a little bit. We talk about high value man and all that, six figures. Everybody in tech, the passport bros, shout out to them. I'm not one, so don't be coming on my channel beat me up.
Yeah.
All those dudes, a lot of those guys are tech. You make the money, you can do a lot of things in life. That's all I got. Go. Going back to you, John.
Nah, you're right. You're right. You can, travel the world, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Doing these types of, especially with there being remote opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Well, certain companies though, they may have issues with you going outside of the US, you know what I'm saying, depending on what you're doing. But you do have those opportunities, you could switch to a different company and they may, be laxed on that, you know what I'm saying? And you could do what you need to do and still make a very great living, working in the field. So
yeah, I'm 98% remote. They said I'm gonna have to fly in once a year, maybe to do something. So there's a ton of remote jobs out there. If you go on Indeed, put remote in there, there's probably 50,000 jobs gonna come up, depending on your specialty and what you want to get in. So remote's definitely hot in the IT. I know. Shout out to Elon Musk, he's making everybody's come back. But besides him and Disney, I was gonna do a video on that, have the Mickey Mouse crying, they making everybody come out. But there's still a plethora of companies out there that's strictly remote.
oh yeah. Yep. All right, so the next one I wanted to kind of look at was the Network Plus. This is kind of like a foundational cert in my opinion as well, but you still need to have that, A plus or IT fundamentals in order to, really get into networking because it's a little bit more difficult. You basically understand. Let me just read it. Network Plus certifies the essential skills needed to design, configure, manage, and troubleshoot any wired and wireless device. So yeah, that's it. Basically covers everything dealing with networking. It's gender, neutral.
Vendor
And
neutral vendor.
yeah, vendor. Yeah, man. Now I'm gonna be saying that for the rest of the stream. Anytime I think about neutral, I'm gonna say
It's all good.
because I
Let me get a
messed up
piece of
one time. Yeah,
you good. Let me get a piece of that from
all right, go ahead.
cybersecurity. And Gabe could play on that. One of the basic things people don't realize cybersecurity is networking. The first thing you check on is the 3-tier. And now we got a zero trust networking, controlling your network packets, intrusion detection, intrusion prevention, digging down in package, seeing where your package goes, right? Making sure you're not getting DDoS for availability. So networking is the key foundation. I know you're going to get to cyber security plus next, but networking, all these things really build into security, right? When you do security, really you need to understand at least at a basic level, because you got to secure the whole organization from manual webcams to networking. If your networking messed up, you're gonna get toast, right? Because you really want to keep your network surface small. You really want to be able to look at SIMs, network traffic. So you need a basic understanding of networking.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. And then this is kind of like where we get into the specialization, which I'm gonna skip this one for now, but I wanted to show you guys these two really are the foundational certs. So the IT fundamentals and the A plus. Once you get those two, you can go a bunch of different ways. Like you can go into networking, which I just covered, or which we just covered. You can also go into server plus. You can, if you don't want to go that networking route, which is best to have that networking, if you want to get it, you can get it as well. But server is a little bit different. It goes into managing servers at that point, and you kind of have that foundational knowledge of software and hardware from the A plus, so you can kind of jump over to server plus if you want to. And correct me if I'm wrong, Professor Black Guys, but that's the way I see it. If you don't want to go that networking route, you can kind of skip over. But if you want to have some foundational knowledge on networking, I do recommend this Network Plus. What you think?
No, I agree with you. Because your server's gonna be running on a network, and a lot
Yeah.
of times when we were doing it, because once again, I've been in the game a long time, we were trying to figure out what's wrong with the server. Somebody configured the network wrong, so the traffic couldn't get to the server, right? So if you don't understand networking, right? So a lot of times, not all the time, all these certs really build on top
On
of each
top
other.
of each other, yeah.
And really, when you get to a certain level, a certain age, shout out to Gabe, you want to be a director, architect, you need to understand all of those, right? I'm not a CCNA, but I understand a network. I know what a subnet is, right?
Yeah.
I know what a route is. And when you go, people know I'm in AWS, you got to still configure those routes up in AWS, right? When you do your VPC. So all of these, I believe you need to understand. You might not need to specialize in them.
Yeah.
But if you really want to get the bag, become an architect, become a director, become a manager, you need to at least have a basic understanding of all of these, right? Because in the end, we want to be managers, directors, own our own companies. You need an understanding of a piece really of all of those. If you really want to I want to dominate, right? We talk about basketball and football. Let's talk about dominate technology.
Really? Yeah, I got you.
I'm gonna throw it back to you, man. I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Nah, you good. You good. Nah, good information. But one of the reasons I say that because I know A plus, and now I haven't taken the A plus exam. I haven't taken it. But I thought it covered some base networking. That's kind of my thought process. And
it does.
Why
I've actually seen it on Tech G's channel.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's why I was just trying to. I don't know. Some people, you know, you can skip that network plus if you don't want to go that networking route because it does cover some networking. But if you want to, secure the bag like what Professor Black Guy was saying, and dominate, it will be beneficial for you to get that network plus as well. But right up in here, all these infrastructure certs, because I was gonna cover those as well, along with server plus. You got your cloud plus, that's your cloud plus skills, and your Linux plus skills. You know what I'm saying? And back to that server plus. Now, another thing, and this one, all right, security plus is kind of like a different animal in my opinion. It's some core skills dealing with security. It's baseline understanding of security. So it could be considered a foundational cert for security or cybersecurity. But this is where you get into the DoD. And go ahead on and hit on it, Professor Black.
My fault.
Nah, you good.
But I passed the Security Plus 15 years ago, right? I need to re-up but the Security Plus asked me questions about Linux Plus, cloud. It's going to ask you about networking. It's going to ask you about first plus. So that is going to be actually relying on information on the other ones, like we say, you stack, because security, you securing the infrastructure, which is network, which is the cloud, which is Linux, which is Windows, which is server, right? All of that's what you securing in Server Plus. So you got to have at least a basic understanding of all those. And shout out to Tech G. He said he was covering those in A plus. I know he was doing some couple short 30 minutes where I saw that. But no, that Security Plus, once again, you securing the whole infrastructure, right? When you do Security Plus, you're talking about securing your whole IT, and that covers all those certs you just listed.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Nah, you right on the money with that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and this is that 8570 requirement right here as well.
That's funny.
Getting into those, government contracting jobs. So all my vets out there, and you don't even have to be a vet. It's certain, you know, um, ways for you to get into, working for the government. But that 8570 requirement, this is one of those certifications that'll get you, good to go. And then from here on up, as far as cybersecurity certs, they all fall under that 8570.
Yep. Like you said, there's level 1, 2, and 3 of the 8570. I think the CYSA's,
Yep,
I think that's
CISA.
actually higher than Security Plus. I think that's in 3,
Oh
actually.
yeah, yeah, that's high. And the CISA and the CASP is
Yep.
the highest, I believe, with cybersecurity.
CISP's up there too. So that's
Hmm.
actually what I'm studying now. But go ahead, though.
Yeah, and so a lot of these other certs, they kind of, go into some form of a specialization. They got the Data Plus cert. Well, back to cybersecurity though. Yeah, you got your CISA plus, CAS plus, Pen Test plus. I don't have much information on Pen Test plus, other than that it basically covers the base level understanding of penetration testing and going on. Have you taken that one, Professor Black Ops, or studied
No,
for it,
I've
or looked
actually
at a
shout out to
course? Hmm.
no, I shut out the game. I'm usually blue team. That's usually red team penetration testing. I do a little penetration testing because when I set it up, I want to make sure I'm not leaving anything on the table. But now I really don't really the crazy do a lot on the red team. The crazy thing is that my ex job, I used to supervise the red team because shout out to Gabe, we used to bring a third party contractor on site, put them in the conference room and let them attack from inside our network. Because the
Hmm.
majority of people gonna get inside your network. So, but now I haven't really dug down in the pen test plus, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. And let me read a couple of these comments that started coming through. Engineering Cannabis, shout out to you, bro. I definitely appreciate you coming through. He says this is a great topic, how foundational skills are important in security, networking, and in machine learning. Statistics are important. Yeah, I agree. I agree, engineering. You definitely on the money with that.
Oh,
Yep. And Tech G, he says, funny. I did a consultation with a guy who went through yeah, that guy's
yeah,
training.
don't say his name.
Yeah,
Keep
because I don't
going.
I just don't want people to
We all
create a
love over here. Keep
video.
going.
Yeah.
We all love over here. Keep going.
Dude got the AWS cert but was lost and confused doing all the fundamental stuff. Yes, and that's kind of where I'm going with this live stream as well. Just understanding that, yeah, you can go take some courses or whatever that are kind of not entry level and potentially thinking you're gonna get a good job. But if it's best to have those fundamental skills. I'm not saying you can't skip some of it, but at least go through some courses and training. And that's why I'm showing you guys this certification stuff, because you can go through the training for a lot of this stuff. If you it's best to get certified. I mean, if you go through the training, you might as well get certified, at the end of
Yeah,
the day. But at least get those fundamental skills before trying to hop into some of these higher certifications that those fundamental skills help you stand out more as well.
facts, facts.
But let me see, who else? Let's see. um Guillermo Morrison, he says, do you know any certifications for programming, specifically C++? That I don't know. I'm gonna pass to you, Professor Black Ops, if you know, because I know you used to program a lot more than
Yeah, I,
me.
yeah, I don't really know any. I'm sure I take that back. Let me roll that back because I know they have Java certifications. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure if you go to Microsoft, they have some specialization where you can get certified on it. I just don't see that asked a lot inside of IT. Usually they say, do you got 2 or 3 years in Java? You a junior, senior, or mid? I've never
Mm-hmm.
really seen a lot of people ask for programming certifications. Shout out to Savage Scientists in there. Savage, you got anything on C++? because I thought he did a little C plus
Yeah,
plus.
that's
So,
right. Yeah, definitely
Travis,
check
can you
out.
comment on that C plus plus? Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Holla at Savage Scientist, and if you could put something in the chat, Savage, if you know about C plus plus, that could help get them more. Go down, put it in there. But yeah, I was gonna kind of say the same thing. I never looked into C plus plus like that as far as certifications go, but like I know there's a Python certification out there. I know for sure.
Mhm.
Like on Python.org, I believe. So if you're interested in Python, I know they got a cert for that out there as well that can help you if you're interested. I know you specifically looking for C++, but yeah. And shout out to my man Savage Scientist. Yeah, shout out to you, bro. And yeah, he says there is no CPP cert or C++ cert. I'm sorry, that's what he
Yeah.
meant. Yeah, C++ cert. Gabe says Pentest Plus is fairly new and hasn't really caught on in the industry. OSCP and GPen are the current standards. And yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I've seen Pentest Plus for a long time, bro. It's been around for a while. It's just, yeah, you're right, it hasn't caught on. Cause when I took my Network Plus in 2015 originally, they Pen Test Plus was there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure how long it was before that, but I remember a lot of people talking about it, during that time period. Oh, if you want to get in cybersecurity, they got that Pen Test Plus cert on CompTIA that you can get into, because I was looking at possibly going that route, you know. So whatever. And then let's see. Hey brother, I just promoted. Hey brothers, I just got promoted to
DevSecOps.
DevSecOps job. Yeah, shout out to congrats, Savage. You know what I'm saying? That's dope. Yo, that's super dope, man. It's always good to hear people, moving up and, getting better positions and all that stuff. Oh yeah, and in Washington. I remember you had moved to Washington. Yeah, shout out to you, bro. That's my Louisiana brethren. Savage. Shout out to you. Yeah, and let me see. Gay Bay says CRTO and PN. So pen test, I guess, or PNPT, or good newer penetration and red test teaming certs that are growing. So yeah, let's check those out or whatever. And let me try to find these and put them in the chat for you guys. Have you heard of those, Professor Black Ops?
No, that's why I leave me Gabe. I don't do a lot of red teaming.
Okay,
So nah,
okay.
yeah, because like that. And two is shout out to Gabe. Is that's such specialized, and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
let Gabe chime in as that. I don't really see a lot of red teaming unless you at a consulting company. I worked at
Oh yeah.
state and government. We contracted out to people like Gabe and companies and the big four, right? Because when they come in, because when you're doing red team, right, you spinning up something big. And two is the government's got to do it every 18 months
Yeah.
for they call it ATO, authority to operate site. So we didn't really have a lot of that red team talent on staff. I
Mm-hmm.
know some of my bigger contracts, they're starting to hire a lot of red team, put a few red team guys on staff, but a lot of that we contract that out. I'll let Gabe talk about that in the chat a little more. Like I said, we didn't hire that expertise because that expertise is expensive. So we didn't hire a lot of that on staff.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, definitely. If you can, speak to it, Gabe, a little more, and maybe I need to bring you on so we can get some updated, information on where the industry is heading as far as like search that people need to start looking into, in the cybersecurity field. Because yeah, I'm not no cybersecurity professional. You know what I'm saying? I work in database. You know what I'm saying? So I don't keep up with it as much. You know what I'm saying? And then I seen a question come through. Uh, it was about I'm trying to get into, and this is Moses Thompson. He says, I'm trying to get into systems administration. Is there any pathway certification you can recommend? Let me go on and answer that for you because I kind of covered it. It all depends on where you are in your career. Up here at the top, you got your fundamentals, your A plus, and like I said, you can get the network plus, but A plus kind of covers some fundamental networking skills. But if you want to get that Network Plus, you can. But if you're trying to save money currently and you may want to go back and get that Network Plus, I would recommend you go to the Server Plus, because this covers systems administration work, and then from there, then you start specializing if you're looking at a particular platform. Because, like I've been saying, and I'm not gonna say gender this time, but CompTIA is vendor neutral, and so um, it covers, everything. It covers everything dealing with server administration, for all the different platforms. But once you specialize, that's when it'll go directly into whatever platform you're working with, as far as administration work on that side or systems admin work on that side. You got your Windows side, and you got your, Linux as well, which is not that much, but it's out there. And then, the cloud with all these different platforms, Azure, a lot of people are running things in Azure, as far as Active Directory, and then they got their own Active Directory thing on AWS going, which PBO could probably talk about more on here. But those different platforms, that's kind of like where you get into your specialization. But the Server Plus, it's kind of like those foundational skills to be a systems administrator. And you probably want to get your skills up as well by probably working help desk, or working way up through those ranks. But once you get these certifications and start specializing, you start seeing that bag.
Get too, Moses. The other part about that is,
Mm-hmm.
depending, like you said, where you're at in your crib, a lot of people using automation, Puppet Chef, you in the
Oh yeah.
cloud. So a part of administration is you got to be able to script that stuff and automate it. Ansible, one of your favorite ones,
Oh yeah.
Cloud Formation. There's a ton of automation tools. So now part of system administration is you got to automatically spin up stuff, auto scaling groups. So I think you need to start bringing that on with a little of that Server Plus and a
Mm-hmm.
little of that Cloud Plus, right? Because
Oh yeah.
now in the old days we used to rack it and spend. Now they won't say we need 30 servers by tomorrow, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you got to automate that stuff, bring it up, right? You as a DVA, right? You request servers, they bring them up, then you put the database on, right? So
Yep.
that's I think where it's going, Moses. So too is like Josh said, I think you need to get your little cloud, little server plus, little Linux plus, because now as part of administration, a lot of times you can spin up the server and then how are you going to administrate it? A lot of times you do it remotely,
Mm-hmm.
where you SSH in, you really don't, you do it remote. So I think that as a bundle is what you need to master to get into system administration, because it's still out there. Like we got a Linux administrator. Sometimes I talk to him, I might need something set up, or I might need a user with no password set up, but he got to set up sudo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can sudo. So it's still a lot of administration work out there.
Yeah, and one big area of administration is patching.
Oh,
So
fine.
that's still around. All these systems got to be patched. I know they automating some of it, you know what I'm saying? But you can't fully automate something. You have to test it first
Right, right.
before you push these patches out. Otherwise, you could break stuff. You could break, the applications that are running on them and all that stuff. So patching is very important part of systems administration. And the reason I answered your question, Moses, because it answers two other people questions in the chat. Lavendi, he says, "What are the fundamental areas you were speaking out?" Before we move on, yeah. Hopefully, I covered it. That's those foundational certs that I was talking about as well. And then I also seen another question. Who was that? Um, how do you guys? I don't think that's it. It was someone else asked something similar to, those fundamental certs and getting into Server Plus, or maybe, yeah, maybe it was you, Danny Moore. He says, "How do you guys feel about the Server Plus?" And that's kind of how I feel. It's man, I'm about to do it. It's it's vendor neutral. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Yep. Shout out for those questions, man. Appreciate it. And let me go through a few more. And then it was one other area I wanted to cover on their side. Oh, I was gonna go to the DoD 8570 after this, but is getting AWS certs good enough to get in the door without foundational certs? Um,
No. Let me comment on
Oh,
no
go ahead. Go ahead.
because I've got 4 AWS certs, right? And when you do DevOps or what's the big one? So security in there or administration, all of those jobs in AWS, you're gonna need foundational work.
Yep.
Even if you're an architect, you got to be able to get on the box and look at the Linux. Because if you spin it up wrong, you got to feel okay. What happened in the build? So even as an architect, you need some of those foundational skills.
Yep.
Right. So AWS certs, like I've got the practitioner, I've got the associate architect, I got the associate developer, and I got the specialty. And some stuff I was building, I was getting 95% on the test. But if you don't get 100, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you need those foundational skills, because when it doesn't work, you need those skills to dig in. Like I was spinning up something and I was pushing out some automation and it didn't make it to Linux. So I had to go on the directory and be like, oh, it's not there. What happened? I didn't set up the security right. But if I don't have the foundational knowledge to move around in Linux, I can't look in the directory to see why it wasn't built, right? So you need those foundational knowledge on anything you do, especially in AWS, because now you're spinning it up at scale, right? So I'm spinning up, like we talked about, 200 Amazon Linux, 20 Windows servers, so I'm spinning it up at scale. So if something doesn't work, I need the foundational knowledge to look at a directory, look at the security, right? What's my rights for the owner, the group, and everyone else, right? Those are basic Linux core things. If you don't know, you can't debug what you're building.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I agree. You need those fundamentals, and that's the thing I'm trying to hit home, through this live stream. I mean, you need those fundamental skills or foundational skills, in order to, understand a lot of these other, higher areas of IT, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
And real quick, and two is the crazy thing is I've been doing Linux since 2005, and I those skills been good for 20, 30 years, right? I went from Red Hat to Amazon to Ubuntu. When you get in Linux, there's a few commands are different, but the security stuff, the PAM, the owner user directory, you can use Corn Shell, Bash Shell, Python, whatever you're using for your scripting, right? All of those skills stack on the top of each other.
Yep.
Right. So I tell people don't skip those foundational, right? I'm Tim Duncan, man. Linux is a drop step. You need that basic skill, right?
Oh, yeah.
So and Windows too, you need to get in there. You need to understand your OUs, how to connect, how they stack up from a basic security perspective. Even if you're not in security, you need to understand how that's set up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you're right on point, Professor Black Ops. And then shout out to my man Hemi Connor. He says he's currently doing his homework for his Linux class in college. Shout out to you, bro. He's listening out, Hey, and I'm glad you brought up Linux again, Professor Black Ops. But for anyone that's interested, I do have a introduction to Linux course on my channel. You can check it out, or you can also check it out on um, Free Code Camp. That's over there as well. They got almost like 1 million views on it with a whole bunch of, great comments saying that the course was good, and it's 100% free. You can have it, you know what I'm saying? You can watch it whenever, if you need, to refer back to it or something, whatever. It's there. It's up there. And I also got it broken out on my channel as well in a playlist for every area, so you can skip around and find what you need, if you're trying to figure out something. But yeah, all you guys out here in college, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, get your study on, get your work on, you know what I'm saying? And try to put yourself in a good situation. Make sure you get those fundamental skills so you can, get out of college and get into the workforce, start making, good money. So
yeah, and two is like I tell people is I went to a state school. After my first job, nobody ever asked me what college I went to, man.
Yeah.
So make sure you learn it. Make sure you putting pressure on your professors to get what you pay for. Make sure you learn it. There's a ton of great channels here. Shout out to KeepItTechie Linux channels, Women in Linux. There's a lot of great Linux. There's a lot of great Windows. take that information and put pressure on your professor, man. You want to learn as much as you can because you
Mm-hmm.
paid for it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And shout out to Savage Scientist. And I see you, Earl Owens. Shout out to you. Thanks for coming through, man. But he says, Savage says, I have a lot more respect for PowerShell. Yeah, PowerShell
Right.
is interesting as well to learn, especially when you're trying to get into that systems administration roles. PowerShell is very important. They're using PowerShell really with automating a lot of this stuff.
So I was going to say,
Yep.
that's what. So in each in each role, even that security role, you gotta pick something you're gonna use to automate, right? I'm old, I'm using Corn Shell. I'm back to actually switch to Python, but you need to understand Corn Shell, PowerShell, Bash Shell, C Shell, Python, because when you automate it, you're gonna need you're gonna
Yep.
need a scripting language that you understand inside and out that you're gonna be able to call upon, right? Like I said, I'm old. I still use Corn Shell a lot on Linux, but I know it, right? So I can take a file, I can cut it, I can grep it, I can pipe it, I can set it out. You can look those up, those some old techniques when I need to do something, out of the ordinary with a file, right? And that's how you make your money. I make my money when people fail and you need something super complex and super specialized.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Go ahead,
Yep.
Josh.
Nah, you good. Let me see. It was something somebody else said. Yeah, and appreciate you, Gabe, for putting this, great information out in the chat and responding to some of the people that need help out. I don't know, man. It's great to have like you know a lot of people that's just as passionate as me is trying to help people. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you, bro. Um,
Appreciate it, man. Shout out to you, man.
yeah,
You be giving a lot of people platforms, man. You the first guy I made on YouTube. So shout out to you. You got me
yeah,
started, man.
for
But
sure.
shout out to my man. He's talking about the Azure, the AZ900.
Yeah,
Pick a cloud, any cloud, man. It could be Google,
yep.
Amazon, Azure, Rackspace, Salesforce. The cloud is where it is at, man. Cloud is
Mm-hmm.
the future. There's probably only 30% of the companies there, so more people, but the cloud is really the bag, and we're gonna figure out how to secure the cloud, pen test the cloud,
Mm-hmm.
red team the cloud, all that stuff. Is really getting ramped up in AWS and Azure and Google.
Yeah, yeah. And someone asked, how do you guys feel about CompTIA raising their prices? And um I touch on it a little bit, and this kind of goes back to one of the things I said in the beginning of
Yeah,
the live stream. I'll let you go after this, Professor Blackus, but um, if you want to be successful, you got to invest in your future. And I
that's
get
right.
it. I understand. The prices, is raising, which everything in the U.S. is raising now because of
Thanks.
inflation and all that stuff. I get it, but you got to set aside certain things if you want to be successful, if you want to set yourself up for the future. And I get it, the price is a little bit more, but still do your best to save up the money. I know everybody can't do it, I know it's kind of hard, but I'm just saying, like, do your best to save up and invest in your future. You know what I'm saying? That's my thoughts on the raising prices.
Yeah,
What you
and I agree. And the guy right there, I don't know how much he's paying for college. Those certs are cheaper than college, so you gotta wonder you're gonna pay now, you're gonna pay later, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, people are asking me for CISP, man. I've been in the game for 30 years, but that's a qualifying cert, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
I want to do government work, they want me to have CISP, I gotta get it, right? So it's just part of doing business now. I think you need to put a couple of certs in your repertoire a year, and you need to lab so many times a month for so many hours. Because you can get a cert and not be able to do it in real life, right? When you
Mm-hmm.
pass, unless you do the DevOps, you're just asking questions on the AWS cert. I'm a master's test taker. I taught for 10 years, so I got 4 certs. But some of that stuff I can do in real life, man. I was in when you I kind of roll up your sleeves and you get in that console or you start scripting it, that's gonna show you if you can do it for real. I
Mm-hmm.
met a lot of people that have certs, they can't do it for real,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So those are two separate things, right? Search is good. Search says you got a certain amount of knowledge, but sometimes, depending on your test, you might not have covered 2 or 3 domains in depth, so you really don't know how to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even at 52, I try to lab at least every other day so I can learn new skills and keep sharp. Right. So
Yep, and I agree. And also, just to throw this in, Tech G made a excellent point. And
let's see that.
I've heard him say this on his channel multiple times. Prices go up, but as soon as you get your first job, you'll make all your money back, and that's true. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
In my opinion, especially in this field, I mean, people talk about the amount of money you can make in these different, positions, and I know not every position will get you to, 100,000 right off or whatever, or right at the beginning of your career, but you will make good money if you get into this industry and you invest in yourself and you have those skills that'll help you get those positions and you get the money back.
Yeah, and it is right. And two is we got to change the mindset. And like you brought it, you got to invest in yourself. Once again, I'm 50 plus. You got to invest in yourself because you're trying to get to the next level of job,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that investment helps you get to the next level. That investment might be that investment might just be you labbing.
Yeah.
Right. So, but you're going to need to spend a little money. It's a lot cheaper, man. I used to have 4 servers in my house in the 2000s because the cloud. Now I can spin up 2-3 servers in the cloud, build it up, tear it down at night, and it charged me $8 for my whole lab. Right. But that's part of doing business.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And also, Gabe came through with some more information as well. Definitely check out this right here. But yeah, some companies will pay for your certifications, so that's something you could look into as well, Danny Moore. So definitely check that out. Check that link out that Gabe put in the chat. Now,
You see
let's
Mr.
see.
D's question?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, can someone explain to me an IT position that requires 24/7, 365 shifts and rotations, and rotation, how it works? And let me let you go, Professor
You want me
Blackups,
to
and I'll
go?
go after you. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah,
want
no
to.
problem. Yeah, Mr. D, I used to actually work for the Department of Defense. We used to actually pay retirees. So our system was up 24/7, right? We're cutting checks, we sending checks around the world. That's before now direct deposit, but even with direct deposit. So you have a first shift, the third shift, then once again, Gabe can chime in. If you're at the top, it was called integration team. We rotate a phone every week. If that phone ring, you better answer, because if a soldier or retiree doesn't get paid, the quickest way for a soldier to come home is his wife not get paid. I still say
Mm-hmm.
that with passion today because that was drummed in my head. So we took 24/7, 365. So once again, I was in the integration team. That's the top team. So why would they call me? The file didn't run. The file got corrupted. The programmer put something in. Shout out to DevSecOps. They didn't test it right. So now the whole system's down. Now I got PSD because I'm driving in, calling programmers trying to figure out what the hell's going on, man. What you put in that damn system, right? We got the tracker. Can we roll it back, right? Can we roll over to our disaster recovery and run with the old module? So when you run on systems like that that are critically important,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you're in the government or big systems, Facebook, they don't go down and they really don't even charge any money. So there's a lot of systems, especially banking, finance, and hospital system. You got 24/7. So you got 3 shifts, and usually we rotate the phone. I know as a DBA, I'm sure Josh had the phone sometimes
Yep.
if the database come down, because I'm the integration team. If the servers come down, I got to call Josh. I'm like, I'm a DBA, but I'm not touching Josh's system unless he's unavailable. So I'm like, Josh, what's going on, man? The server's down. Log on, see what's happening. I'm calling the programmer. What patch you in it? I'm calling networking. Maybe they put a patch in and broke the damn networking. So when you got 24/7, 365 for a critical system, all hands on deck, and you usually have a phone, rotation list. And sometimes I got to wake the president of the company up, right? Because if it's a hack, I got to call Gabe. I got to fly out the red team to figure out if somebody stole every taxpayer information in Indiana. I used to work for the Department of Revenue. So I got a bat phone. I got to, so depending on the situation, 24/7, 365 is quite common depending on the industry.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I agree. That's what I was going. It's basically centered around critical systems. You know what I'm saying? And the DoD a lot of times have a lot of critical systems that people
Thanks.
lives depend on. So 24/7 operations, is normal. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so it depends on these systems that's being managed, and the company as well. You know how critical those systems are,
Right.
and most companies, they don't want their systems to go down. So
Right.
you're gonna be on some form of a call,
Mhm.
if it's not 24-hour shifts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
But-
yeah, you hit it on the head though with all that
Yeah. Yeah.
info you put out there, man.
Yeah, and two, it sounds more ominous. If you test your app and everybody's ready, and you got your networking guys and everybody's looking at the logs and making sure everything's running smooth, you shouldn't be getting calls in the middle of the
Yep.
night. It should run,
Yep.
right? That's what, so hopefully, I mean, it sounds ominous. Usually, you have the third shift help desk, right? They the
Mm-hmm.
one. I'm not there. People call in with problems and they call me. So hopefully everything runs smooth and you
Yeah.
won't need to get called. But there's a lot of companies that's 365. The cool thing though is you usually get compensated, usually pay you more because those systems are critical.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I work for a private company as well, where it wasn't 24-hour shifts, but yeah, you get in those situations where if something goes down, because the company was global, and
Yeah.
so people depended on the system. Back in, I don't know, I think they had a China office and all that stuff or whatever. But yeah, if the system goes down, you gotta, get on. Luckily, they allowed us to VPN in at the time, and so we was able to log in and fix issues or support people that are trying to do things on the, thing 24/7. You get a call, it is what it is. But they do compensate you for that type of stuff. So yeah. Um, nah, let me see. It was a couple other things I seen. Um, hold on. Yeah, Tech G, also added a little bit. He says, he used to work for the NSA, and one time we were on shifts, 24/7, 365. I used to work 4 days on and 3 days off, 12-hour shifts. Yeah, that's sound like the chemical plant. But yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, that's how they do it on those shifts like that. You know, let's see. And then sometimes, well, it depends on where you at. And I can speak to this as well. Like I was contracting in Afghanistan, and we worked 6 days, 12 hours. So and then they didn't have a night shift. Well, it depends on what area you're in, but we worked 6 days a week, you
Yeah.
know. Um, Actually 6.5, because that 7 day we had to come in as well, because this was critical systems that people in life depended on it. You know what I'm saying? So
That's fine.
yeah. But somebody else brought up like Chat GPT,
Oh
Open
yeah.
AI. Yeah, it is, it is a cool little tool that allows, to help you or whatever.
Oh,
And if you
let
want to
me
talk
get a
about
quick.
it, go ahead.
Oh yeah. I've been using it in my job. Shout out to MGTOW Universe. I think I know who that is. I think we
Oh
were
yeah,
on
shout out to
Citizen
MGTOW. What's
Lou.
up, bro? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I've been using it a lot. Actually, I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna train it. I think that's the future. Because we were on we had it programming. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a I wouldn't say scary. I think you can use it to automate your job, help you in your job.
Oh yeah.
And two is I think kids are going to use it to cheat in school, but that's a whole different thing. I think it's a tool. I think everybody needs to be using it in your job, especially if you're using it in tech. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times I know the answer. I put it in Chat GPT just to figure out
To
if it's going to
verify
come
it.
up with a different scenario or just check what I'm
Yeah,
doing. Right.
yeah.
I do GRC in real life, so I get weird. Like, what was the data retention? What's HIPAA's take on encryption? What encryption level do you need? I know it, but I put it in ChatGPT and it'll come and say, "Oh no, you need TLS 3 or
Mm-hmm.
TLS 2 or SSL 3.0." I use Chat GPT just to bounce stuff out, and I think
Oh
I'm
yeah.
actually going to train it in GRC. So
Yeah,
that's
and
kind of one
I
of my
do it.
my
I
little
use it
things.
as well for work. Like if uh a question comes up, and or not a issue comes up,
Mhm.
just to quickly, because sometimes you don't think about, a lot of different things that could be causing a problem, right away. A lot of times
Right.
it'll take you a minute to, I don't know, get to a place where you know exactly what to check depending on the problem. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
would always, like put questions in it just to see what else it would bring up, because it may be something I hadn't thought of yet to
Facts,
check,
facts,
for whatever issue I'm trying to fix. So yeah,
facts.
it's beneficial. It can help you. So now let's see.
Let me grab this one question real
Oh, go
quick.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
It, did I lose it? Yeah, somebody said um, they passed the AWS test and they agreed. He said, but he really couldn't lab it and make it work. So that's why I tell people, just because you passed the cert, there's still a
Mm-hmm.
lot more things. Because especially the AWS cert, they only ask you 70 questions, right? And in the the DevOps, the sys app, you got to do 3 labs, but there's so much out there. So even though you get the cert, you
Mm-hmm.
still got to get your labbing on. So
Yep.
um, and and I'm gonna start again. I usually lab every day at 3 on Sundays. I've been skipping a couple of Sundays, we were asking, but just because you got your shirt, there's still a lot more things in real life you need to learn, because those are big domains. When you say server plus Linux, Windows, then two is I like to specialize, right? I'm an Amazon, I'm a Red Hat guy, because each one of those Linux version has their own nuances with those operating systems too.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to answer your question, Earl Owens, he says, is Chat GPT the equivalent of Hey Google? Somewhat.
No,
Somewhat.
well,
I mean,
it
you'll
is.
get you get a little bit more details from Chat GPT that can help you. I don't know. It writes out a response like you're talking to almost a human. Um,
Yeah,
Google, Hey Google, just gonna spit out maybe a wiki or an article that it knows. It'll
right,
just send you that information or
right.
say it out loud, repeat it to you.
Right. So that's why I agree with Zach, but I'm giving it a little more credence. Is I think Chat GPT is really the next evolution of Google. Because when you Google, you're gonna get articles. If you write there as question, if you ask the question correctly in Chat GPT, it's gonna give you code, it's gonna give you
Yeah.
articles, it's gonna answer the question.
Yeah.
Where Google's gonna give you articles and you still have to read. Chat GPT
Mm-hmm.
is taking all that information and saying, I believe this is the correct answer.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well,
I think, and a lot of people actually, if you look at a lot of people calling it the Google killer.
hmm.
Right.
Well,
Right.
yeah, you're right. I've seen a lot of the articles saying that, but I was responding the way I responded it to it because of the way I read it. The Hey Google thing, like like on the home automation stuff. Like I could say, Hey Google, um, I'm trying to think of a question. I could say like, Hey Google, X, Y, and Z, whatever. I don't know.
Hmm.
Who invented the cotton gin or something like that? It's gonna spit out the answer. It's not gonna give
No,
you
you're
just
right.
search results. It's gonna
No, you're
spit out
right.
the actual answer for it. Kind of like Chat GPT. You see what I'm saying?
No,
But
you're
yeah,
right.
you're
You're right.
right. Like searching Google, yeah, definitely. It skips the step of you having to figure out what article you want to click on from the results that Google gives you. It skips that step and go right to the answer that you're trying to figure out. So yeah, that's what I agree with, Professor Blackers. Yeah, you're
No,
right
you're right. I
about that.
forgot
Yeah,
about that Google. That I've usually just do the search part, but you're right. But
yeah,
like Savage Science, it's supposed to be ask.com was supposed to be this, right? So
yeah.
I think this is the next evolution of that, right? So
Uh huh.
and two is and like we talked about before, is and that's the cool thing about technology is if you jump on the next wave, you can make a ton of money. And this is the next wave. It's Chat GPT. Shout out to Engineering Cannabis. AI, machine learning is real big. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff you do in the cloud, AI, machine learning is built in to help you, right? A lot of stuff you don't realize when you're doing AWS, when you look in logs, it has machine learning reading those logs to help you,
Yeah.
right? So that's getting baked into a lot of tools to help you because you can't read a petabyte of information with your eyes, right? So you need something to go through. Shout out to Gabe, right? It's going to look for TPTs, techniques, processes, and stuff that's built in, right? For your own SOC that's built in AWS. It's going to do a lot of that stuff for you, right? Which is machine learning, artificial intelligence built in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let me see. Alfred P. He's got a question as well. He says, "So if I'm studying to pass CCNA and I think that's Rail.
Red Hat. No,
Red
that's Red
Hat
Hat. Yeah,
certified. Yeah, Red Hat certified
administrator, I
systems
think.
administrator. Yeah. How can I link them together in a lab environment to demonstrate a project um, repertoire
I,
to learn and show interviewers?
let me take that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What I do is, and I've been playing around a little bit about that Afro P is, and actually with Cisco is, in AWS, you spin up a VPC. That's actually networking, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you do your 3 tiers, zero trust, top your left, right. You can actually put in, I think it's called Micro. So you can actually put the Cisco Micro actually on your VMs.
Yep.
So your on-prem and your cloud looks like one network, right? And I spin up a lot of Red Hat servers because I do DoD. DoD gives you STIGs for Red Hat servers. So I spin up all that in the cloud as a project to show people, like you said, my portfolio. So I understand basic networking. I'm using the Cisco routers because I'm making my house on-prem looks like one network, right? So when I drop a file, it's getting routed from on-prem to my AWS cloud, one network, and I'm running Red Hat in there, right? And I'm sticking it from a security perspective because I'm a STIG guy, right? So I'm setting it up from a this perspective, how my user's perspective, SFT pin. I don't, that user doesn't have a password, right? So there's 300 checks you can do for security on Red Hat. So that's kind of what I do from a lab perspective, Afro P, to get my skill set ups, like my man says, so I can know what I'm doing, even though I passed the certifications.
Yeah. 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 And I agree. And also, um, I don't. I'm not well versed on the Cisco, setting up a lab environment for Cisco. Um, so definitely check out my man Cisco, bro. Um,
Yeah.
he has a channel where he sets up, labs using Cisco equipment, and once you get the lab set up, I'm sure it shouldn't be an issue assigning an IP address to a Red Hat server that you have run on your network. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, it'll do that for you in the cloud. If you check
Yeah,
out
in the cloud as well. Yeah.
Network Bro does a ton of CC. Well, he just switched to Juniper, but he had a ton of he does have a ton of Cisco labs. I usually used to check him out. I think he got a new job, so he took a little hiatus. But I'm always over there
Mm-hmm.
giving him stigs and stuff. But yeah, check
Yeah.
out Network Bro. He has a ton of Cisco stuff.
Yeah.
Once again, I do the Red Hat Afro Pre. You can reach out to me if you want a little more information on that. ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. You want to ask me specific questions on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, you should be able
But
to set up a lab though. I'm sorry, go
oh
ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, you good. Network Bro, but check him out. He's the Cisco guy. Like I said, I do it more from an AWS networking standpoint. So it's usually a network agnostic. I mean, it's just basic networking, but a lot of people put Cisco inside AWS to make it look like one network from on-prem into AWS.
Yeah, and you're right. A lot of these cloud networks, they allow you to set up your own networking within the platform, so you can have all your servers talk to each other and all that stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
be on the same network. So you know you're right on that. All right, MGTOW universe, you ain't gotta spam the whole response from Chat GPT. I get it. Shout out to
Shout
you
out
though, bro. I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
he's really, I like it though.
Yeah,
He's
he
young and
loves Chat
energetic. Settle
GPT.
down a
Yeah.
little bit. He's young and energetic. Slow down
Yeah.
there a little bit.
Yeah, you good, bro. And Tech G also pointed out something, and this was something that I was, a little bit concerned about with Chat GPT. Like, he basically says that, they're banning Chat GPT in the schools now. I know it's
Mhm.
like um a lot of times they're using those plagiarism checkers now. They have they check to see if it was written by a bot as well. That's part of the procedure or the algorithm that they use to check all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? To see if it was written by a chat bot, or if it was written, or if it was stolen from anywhere else. So
Facts,
yeah, they're
facts.
definitely cracking down on that, because yeah, to be honest, I don't know, it takes away from kids learning how to do research and Yeah, it's easier. It's an easier way of doing things, but you still want kids to learn how to do research and understanding of information instead of putting the information that you're looking for in some bot and it just spits out the answer for you. You don't really learn nothing from that. You don't really get nothing from that. You know?
Right, like we talked about, you skipping your fundamentals when you do that, right? You need to
Yeah,
understand the basics of network. You need to understand the basics of servers, right? So there's
yeah.
stuff you need to understand. A lot of times you need to understand it really to word the question right to get ChatGPT to answer it, but you still
Mm-hmm.
need those fundamentals because a lot of times when you get on site, there's stuff that you can't put in ChatGPT or just stuff you got to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. Um, Let me see. And that's pretty much it. Do you see any other questions you want to
Yeah,
touch on? Go ahead. Go ahead.
let me grab a Levin B. He said, I have a coworker in the knock that are passing the cloud test, are still having a very difficult time finding entry level job in DC area. What's the deal? Like we just talked about is knock entry level. Knock is going to have the most entry level jobs, but that's a network operation. You're not going to have a ton of junior people in there, right? So the thing is too, when you talk about NOC, right? Is that the networking operations center? I'm assuming so.
I'm
Do
assuming that's what you're talking about.
do they have like you said, Network Plus? Do they have CCNA, CCNP? Right. I think those are probably a little higher than entry level. And two, living is with remote work now, the pool of people applying for a job is a lot bigger. Right. I was applying for jobs and I was looking on it tells you 200 people apply for this job because it's remote now. Right. So now the pool is open. So if I can get a junior people or pay a little person 5,000, that's a mid-level, I'm gonna take the mid-level person every day. Right. So I think that's some of the problem. Right. And when you talk about entry level, everybody's going for the entry level job. So what's separating you too? A lot of times DMV, right now we talk about those are government. So is it HIPAA? Is it NIST? Is it STIG? Right. So you might want to put something on your entry level, right? So you can understand those type of compliance in the DMV because those usually are government area jobs with government area compliance on it.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, knock is what they used to call the what is it like National Operating Center or something. It's a military acronym. If that's what he talking about, the knock is typically like an operation center basically.
Yeah.
So it's not like a cyber operation center.
Yeah, it's the network. It's usually the
Yeah,
network operational center, like for when
yeah,
you're doing, because I think that's where he put the
running missions
Cisco.
out of and all that.
Yeah, so but when you do that, right, you competing against a lot of people, man.
Hmm.
When you doing that, right? So what's setting you up and how are you separating yourself, right? And how do you separate yourself? Because entry level jobs, everybody's applying for those, right? So
Yeah.
even though it's entry level, you got to separate yourself. And two is let's be realistic,
Oh,
man.
I'm
I'm
thinking
gonna
about the
let
top. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, yeah, the networking. We talked about this, me, you, Gabe, and everybody else. Is a lot of times those entry level positions fill because the upper people are putting their nephews in there, their cousins. A lot of those jobs are already filled when they post them. They know who they got. They got to post them because HR tells them they have to post them. So I think you get a lot of that, and especially in the DMV area.
Yeah.
Then right under that, is there a demand for person with associate in computer information systems? Depends on what experience you got with your associate degree. If you got an associate degree, you're gonna need a couple certs to go with that, even at an
Hmm.
entry level job, right? Because usually they're gonna, which is stupid. Entry level, they want you to have 2 or 3 years of experience for entry level from an education experience or experience. So I think you need to combine an associate degree. And I taught at a community college that gave out associate degrees. So that's why if you look at our WGU and a lot of the new
Oh
universities,
yeah.
when you get your
WGU.
associate degree, they making you take cert tests so you can meld those two together. So if
Yeah,
you
and
just got an associate degree, you need to get them. Go ahead, Josh.
yeah, and somebody said earlier, brought that up earlier. I meant to, highlight. I think I lost the statement, but yeah, some colleges they do offer vouchers. included with the program that you're going through to take certain certifications as well. So that'll help you with the cost of it. If you're planning on going to college, I mean, obviously you're gonna be paying for college, so you kind of paying for it through the tuition, but they do give those vouchers,
Facts.
to students as well, depending on how far you are in the program and all that stuff. And then also, if you join the military, that's another option. Which I
Facts.
was thinking about TOC when y'all said not. That's
Yeah.
the Tactical Operations Center. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
That's
But
the
yeah,
network. Tech
yeah,
G and Game
network.
Time been on
Yeah,
the network.
they
So
right. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember what else. Oh yeah, they give you vouchers out the yin yang in the military
yeah.
as well, depending on if you go into those what is it, 25 series communications
Yep. Hmm.
MOSs with the
Yep. Yep.
Army for sure. I don't know what the MOS name is in the Navy and all these other ones or whatever. They're kind of different, weird or whatever. But yeah, you can get in, specialize in communications, and they'll pay for your vouchers. They'll pay for you to
Yep.
take these certifications. You know what I'm
They
saying?
pay for you to go to community college too,
Yep.
because I used to sign off on the paperwork. So
Mm-hmm.
I taught for 10 years at a community college. So they bring
Yep.
them in and you got to sign and make sure they were coming to class and do what they're supposed to do. Shout out to them. So I used to sign them. So
Yeah.
Sean Petway, advice to someone working at a SOC analyst. Not sure where to go after as far as career path. Any suggestions? Yeah, my man Tech G's in there, Security Operations Center. If you can elaborate what you do, I do GRC. So part of the security operations is you can come over compliance where you talk about HIPAA and this. A lot of those SOC guys actually get cloud certifications. Then they go over and become a cloud security engineer. Then you can become a cloud security architect. Right. We would talk about data center. They still need security engineers in the data center. So from a SOC analyst, once again, you could become GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. You can become a security engineer. I do a lot of AWS, so setting up your IAM, right? Setting up
Mm-hmm.
your like we talked about, the security of your network, setting up roles and responsibilities, right? Assuming roles. There's so many cloud security things you need to validate, right? Petway. So going from the SOC security engineer, security architect, site reliability engineer, something kind of new in the cloud, GRC, or just getting a security management, right? I worked for the chief security information officer, and we had a security manager, right? So all the security team members reported to the manager, who reported up to the chief security information officer, right? When you do a big Petway, we're doing it big on this channel, Petway. We'll be the CISO. Go ahead, Josh.
No, you good, man. I don't know much about it. That's why I'm glad took the question because I never worked as a SOC analyst. I never worked in that area of IT. So I kind of
That's weird.
yeah. Go ahead.
I've worked with them. I've never. That's the only job I haven't worked in security.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably done everything else besides that and becoming a chief information officer. But I've done everything but the SOC. And Gabe can chime in. Usually SOC, and he did at the bottom is SOC's usually for big companies, right? A lot of people are
Yeah.
outsourcing their SOC, right? So Gabe said it really depends, but an instant response, I always forget red team. Shout out to that. Should be a logical progression. You're already familiar. And he's right. And that's probably actually more conducive to lateral movement from the red team. Incident response, part of that incident testing, malware, all of that goes in there.
Mm-hmm.
So as an IR consultant, which is instant response, you'll be taking the next step and not only responding to tickets, but you'll be addressing full incidents and identifications to remediation, right? And I said that earlier. A lot of times we outsource that. We don't have that on staff. We reach out to somebody like Gabe and his company. I'm calling it his company. And we would get those people on site. I do the initial, right? I'll look in there and I'll say, okay, I looked at the log. It looked like somebody stole the database. I see this TPT, this technique. It looks kind of funny. Call Gabe. We need to get some experts in here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other weird thing is, and just going to touch on that a little bit, is instant response, cool, but if you misread it, you might get personally sued, or you still got adversaries in the personal network. So I personally don't do IR. It's a lot of risk if you don't do it right. So I leave that to the experts like Gabe. Go ahead,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
it tech. Yeah.
Nah, you on point with it. You on point. Hold on. It was something I saw, and I don't want to miss it. come on, don't.
The chat's hopping, man. It's hard to
Yeah,
find
yeah, I
stuff.
know. I'm I'm glad I ain't got 1,000 people in here. So I don't
Man,
I don't want that. I don't want no big chat like that. That's too
I
much.
feel you. I'm struggling too.
Yeah. Man, it was one question I wanted to, cover, but I was gonna kind of close it out. Oh yeah, yeah, Ghostman King. He basically, kind of went back to the beginning of the video, and that was gonna be a
No,
way
I
for
see
me to
it.
go on exit out. But he says, or close it
Go
out.
ahead.
But he says, "What's your advice for someone with zero experience in anything related to IT?" Trying to get into the field, and that's why I went on brought up CompTIA back again, because these
Yeah.
are those fundamental or core certifications that I try to push towards people to get, that'll give you that foundational knowledge. Now it depends on how much you know. So go through a course if you feel as though you understand the information, move on to the next or whatever. But this is the fundamentals. This is the base core level, which my man Tech G is in the chat. He got a full course out there, covering everything you need to know in order to pass the IT fundamentals certification. And then A plus, and then Net plus, and Security plus. These are considered core or fundamental certifications that, and the track that you will follow, in order to get into IT, especially if you don't have any information. Then you can start specializing, down here, cybersecurity infrastructure, data analysts, all that, or whatever. I was just gonna do it like in a quick way, quick, dirty way. But if you wanna, get a little bit more information, we talked about this earlier in depth, within the live stream, and it was. Let's see, someone else. Oh, I wanted to say shout out to you, Mr. Baba. It says pseudo app hello, pseudo app to you, hello to you
Facts,
too.
facts, facts, man. I'm a
Shout out
security
to
guy. I
you.
like to see Sudo, man. I don't
Yeah,
want you to have too many privileges. I like to see
yeah,
Sudo.
yeah, exactly. But
let, let me let
oh,
me
go
grab this
ahead.
one real quick. Because it's not super important. But 11, you said in DMV, if you don't have a hookup for a government job, you can forget about it. That's not true, but that is true. The reason why it's yes and no is half the jobs are already pre-filled, right? So
Yeah,
now you're gonna need to do battle for the other half, right? So you're gonna need to make sure you got your certifications. You're gonna need to make sure your education's right. And like we talked about, you're gonna need to do a portfolio. You need to make sure your skills are set up. You can lab, you can write those up now on LinkedIn. Shout out to Gabe and Tech. I'm working on my LinkedIn. I'm old, but so you can set yourself apart, live at it. But what I tell people is, and a lot of people think I'm negative. I'm not negative. I'm letting you know how hard this shit's gonna be in real life, right? So you got to put some work in, right? So you can get there, because it's not going to be easy, right? A lot of people say, oh, 3 months you can be making $100,000. That's incorrect. That's why we're on this channel. We're not throwing off nonsense. This is real world stuff that you can use. And there's a ton of people, and we do this stuff for real, man. It ain't no quick scheme. Ain't none of that,
yeah,
man. You got to put in some work. I'm 52 and I'm going to be labbing after this on AWS, man, because I got to get better, right? So that's
yep,
it. We just need you to put in work. And two is reach out to people. We got connections. We could try to hook you up with some people. If you're
yep.
in the DMV area, we try to help each other. So reach out to a ton of people in the chat, man, if you try to do something in the DMV area.
Yeah. And I know a person that's kind of real big out there in the DMV area is Kanika. I can't remember her last name
Okay.
off the top of my head, but Kanika, I've interviewed her on my channel. She wrote a book on um basically helping you get into the end. Kanika Talver. Definitely check her out. She's on Twitter. Um, she's on. I interviewed her a while back. Just search my channel for Kanika Talver. She's in the DMV area, I know for sure, and she helped. She has you know, a big network, and she could possibly help you get into the industry up there as well in the DMV area. So holler at her. She does a lot of work, helping people get in. So definitely want to shout her out. But nah, man, I appreciate you coming through, Professor Blackouts. I know this wasn't planned. You took out
Yeah,
your
man.
time, from labbing to come up in
Uh,
and discuss this to try to help some people. And then also before I let you get your last thoughts, I see Earl Owens. He basically says,
mhm.
vets don't forget veteran employee employment through technology education course. It's called Vet Tech program, that matches you with leading training providers to help develop high tech skills. Definitely look into that program, Vet Tech. I think I talked about it one time on the channel before, but shout out to you, Earl, for bringing that up so we could put that information out for all the vets that may come through and watch this on the replay or currently watching now. Check out that program. It's important. But yeah, go down, give your last thoughts though. I definitely appreciate you, Professor
Um,
Blackhouse.
Anytime you need me, man, just reach out. It's all good. But I mean, Josh said it, man. You need to start with foundational skills, right? Linux, Windows, scripting, moving to the cloud, right? All those skills stack on top of each other, right? So before you get in the cloud, you probably need to learn a little bit about Linux and Windows, right? You need to know about a PAM and OUs and security. All those skills stack up on each other, right? So those skills, they won't be wasted, especially if you're gonna get in security because you secure everything, right? So lab study, and the cool thing is, and Josh said, and I'm getting a little more about, invest in yourself, right?
Yep.
Because there's going to be a payoff. And two is, it's a competition. Right now, people want a remote job, but now when you apply for a job, 100 people around the country can apply for the same job you got. So what's going to separate you, right? And I get on young men about this. I'm like, dude, you hoop for 8 hours a day. I just need you to work on tech about an hour and a half a day, man. You'll make 100,000, man. The odds of you going to NBA, smile, but I can make you a DBA in a couple years if you do what you're supposed to do, right? So let's get it, man. I'm old. My time's about up, man. $100,000 out there for you. Shout out to my man Savvy Scientist. 100K in California is definitely not 100K in Mississippi, but
Yeah.
I'm in the Midwest and I eat well. I'm about to go get my barbecue tonight, even though I'm supposed to be on a diet. I'm not working out well, Josh. I'm still working on my diet. So
For
everybody
sure.
have a great New Year's. Let's get it, man.
Yep. Yep. Same thing, man. Everybody have a good New Year. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to this money, cause there's plenty of opportunities out here available for you guys. I definitely want to see you guys succeed. Whoever needs help, get into it. And if you need any, help, I do offer mentorship, as well. My email, not my email, but my calendar event. My calendar is down on my channel somewhere. So if you need to set up, like a 30-minute, call or whatever, so I can kind of give you some one-on-one, assistance as well. You can hit me up that way, schedule out a time or whatever, and I'm available to help, as many people as I can to try to get into the field. That's kind of why I do this. I wish I had this when I was getting in the field and trying to navigate, people out there putting out great information, and helping people. Um, so I try to do the same thing, to try to help as many people as possible, or I try to be that example, to try to help people. And I'm glad that I was able to build or a network or get around a bunch of people that are doing the exact same thing to try to help people. And yeah, I can point you in the right direction as well. So definitely appreciate it. And shout out to Tech Jeep for the super chat. I definitely appreciate you for coming through and dropping a donation to the channel. I definitely appreciate it. Um, but that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation in the video, and I got some more interviews coming pretty soon as well. So look forward to that or whatever they kind of. I'm, I'm working on them. Let me just say that, people. I'm working around people's schedules and all that stuff. But I have some pretty big interviews coming up soon. And stick around, Professor Black Ops, for a second in the background. But shout out to all you guys again, and of course, keep it techie.